The latest episode of Killing Eve is another emotional one. In the last episode of Killing Eve, Villanelle was going through a religious retreat when her killer instincts took over, and she killed May and Phil. Although she seems relieved as she leaves the campsite, and her Jesus alter ego, something is obviously not right. Eve, on the other hand, got close up and personal with Helene. They became friends once they realized that both wanted to identify and take down the 12's top leader. In spite of Eve's hand burning, their strange meeting went fairly smoothly, and they plan to meet again for dessert. Carolyn feels helpless, but she persists in her search for answers from Vladimir. But what did Constantine do? Where did Villanelle go? And what kind of skeletons are hiding in the morgue's closet?
Oh. Are you going to slap me again?
No. What's it this time?
I need the help.
Oh, why don't you ask Jesus?
Can I stay here?
Can you be gone when I got back?
Eve is juggling multiple fascinations now. Even though it's intriguing to see Villanelle half-dressed, Eve would rather be at Yusuf's brainstorming ways to get closer to Helene, with her alluring French accent, chic lob, and, most importantly, her head start on the 12. It drives this episode, and like season 3, which was weighed down by Eve's vendetta. Since I haven't given a shit since multiple seasons, I am also curious to know who is indeed behind this international consortium of femme fatale. Can't help but be someone we already know, right?
Helen is as clueless as we are about who sits at the top of the 12. I think she is torturing each member to get to the next, one by one, until she works her way up to the head of the monster.
Meanwhile, Carolyn continues to be off hiding out and colluding with Vlad, and still trying to figure out who's torture and slaughtering the member states of the 12. Prediction: she does not resolve this until the Slaughtering Eve's Right squad has totally exhausted its supply of imaginative ways for these nation to die. This week, licked to deaths by goats. Next week, who knows, clues have begun to stack up. For instance, the murderer left several Scottish peat mosses at one of such crimes and scenes. But the big burst comes when Vlad tells Carolyn that including its most recent assassination try failed. This newest guy had his toes severed and stuffed up his nose, but he didn't die. Note to self: cut off someone's toes, an ineffective assassinate technique. Use goats instead.
Well then, 3 suspected members of the 12 murdered so far, all of them by sadistic torture. I may have found us a 4th.
Who?
Well, how might be a more pertinent question. A man was found dead in a farm. He'd been tied up. His feet had been dipped in salt, and goats allowed to lick them raw. Like fleshy ice creams.
Oh, Carolyn, come on.
Well, nobody else claimed it.
It's interesting. Keep digging.
After being denied her proposal by Eve, she's visiting the only other person who ever truly can comprehend her, Martin, the psychopath psychiatrist. Villanelle demanding therapy, and, eventually, lunch, as Martin attempts are in place to assist her comprehend why she's so unhappy. This is a difficult thing to unravel, because it's already highly unusual for a psychopath to be unhappy. Psychopaths, as a general rule, are wholly like being psychopaths and don't wish to change. But Villanelle feels terrible, which Martin points to as a potential affirmative sign. Well, maybe I am. She's already changed, and still changing. Well, maybe I am. She's mid-metamorphosis. In contrast, when Martin tries to end their session, Villanelle ties him to a lawn chair and demands that the therapy continue until her problem is resolved. She's changing, but there are some things that remain constant, such as her impeccable sense of fashion and her determination to get exactly what she wants, exactly when she wants it.
What do you know about me?
I know that you're an assassin. Highly skilled one.
Are you flattering me?
No. Just the facts. What's bothering you, Villanelle? Which is what?
Like shit. All of the time. I want you to fix that.
So rather than deal with the elephant in the hotel room, Eve elects to spend the day following Elaine's car around London. She never makes it out of the parking lot. Instead, she intercepts the hysterical Fernanda, a scorned lover also, coincidentally, hoping to find Elaine by stalking her driver. Before long, Eve and Fernanda are putting back a third bottle of Frosty White and commiserating about the women who ruined them. It's actually a pretty therapeutic session, at least for Eve. She tells Fernanda that her ex was controlling and selfish, but her new friend challenges Eve to accept some responsibility. Villanelle can only play her wicked head games with a willing partner. Brutal, incisive, clear-headed advice from a batty, heartbroken woman who claims to have never known what her husband of 5 years did for work. Alas, she'll never be able to ask him. He disappeared around the same time. Come to think of it, that when Elaine showed up in her life.
What a princess. Oh, I ran out of my brochures. Won't be a minute.
Oh, Elliot.
Get away! Creep.
I finished with Mr. Turner. We can do family viewings tomorrow.
You're only allowed out there when I say so. You scare off the customers. You wanted Mum to have an abortion.
He'd be embarrassed to see how you run his business. Don't you agree, Mr. Turner?
Pam and her brother Elliot inherited the funeral home, but he is the face of it while she runs the back office. Elliot is a scorpion who acts like one all the time. When Pam leaves the morgue, he locks her in the freezing room with the lights off. While Pam probably deserves to die, escaping her cartoonishly awful orphanhood would satisfy her.
Bye, Pam.
You know, I was drawn to you the moment I first met you. This little ghost of a girl hiding in the shadows. People don't notice you, and if they do, they underestimate you. And there lies your power. You're going to be extraordinary, Pam. But you're not ready yet.
It's uncharacteristically messy of Elaine to allow such a loose-lipped loose end to roam the earth, but she's distracted by her new problem child. The shifty mortician is back and she's got a name, Pam. I like it. There are more Eves and Elaines in our world than Pam, so she is refreshing. She's meticulous in her embalming work, specific, diligent, unperturbed by the very smell of death. You can see what attracted Elaine.
The woman on the phone. What's she like?
Controlling. Selfish. Delusional.
You gotta cut her out, Nicole. She only gets to play games if you agree to play them.
Is this what being insecure feels like?
Okay. Let me put it this way. Change isn't always comfortable, but feeling like poo might be a good thing.
Apologize!
You're not a very nice boy, Elliot. Have a clue.
It's, Lunchables. I believe you have to be born with psychopathy to behave like one. I mean, look at mercenaries. They're trained into it. Would you rather you weren't a psychopath? Do you know how many psychopaths have sat in front of me and said they don't want to be a psychopath? 0. Psychopaths feel superior, like a god. And gods don't often think they need to change, so I'd say that's hopeful. You've done a lot of good work. That's a good place to end for today.
He murdered my brother. Excuse me? Stabbed him 19 times and then embalmed his body.
Did you clean up?
Yeah,
Where's the body now?
it's in the room.
Good. Now go. I need to handle this. Go. What?
Rusty's survived. The FSB have got him.
Although not sanctioned, Pam's first kill has been recorded, and Helene is forced to call in Constantine for reinforcements in order to deal with the unruly newcomer.
Pete Moss. Marvelous.
You need to be much faster.
Marriage certificate.
Hello, Lars Meyer.
Mayor.
Lars Meyer.
It seems our assassin is from Scotland. I'll fly there tomorrow.
Well, there's been another attack. A Russian agent in Cuba. Rustam Zimin. He survived.
Well, then he must be a member of the 12.
Indeed.
Which means he's been under your nose all along.
He was statistically tortured and left for dead. His toes were severed and inserted into his nostrils.
Well, a live victim might be more loquacious than an assassin.
Yeah. I've had him moved into a safe house to be taken care of. He won't survive a flight as yet.
Well, forget Scotland. Leave him to me. I'll fly to Cuba.
Are you sure? Make it ugly.
Vlad, I am more than ready to get my hands dirty.
Enough.
Is she?
Yeah, she's ruined everything.
So why don't you move on then?
Because that would ruin everything.
So what do you want from her?
I want to smell her skin. I want to hear the boring stuff she does every day that she wouldn't bother telling anyone else because it's really that boring. No, but to me it would be fascinating because it's Eve. She's a rainbow in beige boots.
As is inevitable, their soul-searching tete-a-tete wins its way to the topic of Eve. Yes, Villanelle relishes the hold she has on Eve, but maybe Eve is more powerful now. Villanelle daydreams a future for them as boring as it is endearing, the kind where they tell each other the minutiae of their days and share a bedtime. Did Eve ever imagine something so pedestrian for them? Something so depressingly similar to the life with Nico she tucked away? When Eve follows Villanelle's digital breadcrumbs to Martin's house, the day-long therapy session ends abruptly. It's regrettable that the comedy chokehold Villanelle puts on Martin leads to an accidental concussion, but Eve's mind is made up about Villanelle before that. In fact, she's the one who brings up the story of the scorpion and the frog. Villanelle wants attention, and Eve keeps playing her game, ferrying her across the river, ignoring the risks. Enough, she says. Before going to Martin's, Eve called the police, who arrests Villanelle for the murders of the vicar and his daughter. The game is over.
Do you know that fable about the scorpion and the frog? They hook up?
No. They both die.
Because the scorpion can't change its nature.
child.